everybody, welcome back to Escentual. Erin here to make another cold process soap. This is the last soap of our custom order for Christmas. And I love these Christmas soaps. I'm so inspired. I have so many ideas. I'm not going to go crazy for my own line just because I don't think that I have the space or the customer base to be able to make all of the Christmas soaps that I want to make. So that's the end of that story, but we will see. I've got a couple that I am going to make for myself this year. I will be doing the Jingle Bells soap, and I will be bringing back the Three Kings soap as well. So I do want to address something. This mold is very messy, as you can see. It's got some soap bits on it. I clean these liners, but I try not to clean these boxes too much because they're very thin wood, as you can see. It's quite dirty. This is just from 2 batches of soap, and that's because I'm so messy. That's just how it is. But if I wash these too much, they warp because they absorb so much of the water, and it just becomes a nightmare. I've had another one of these, and it got to the point where it separated here, and I wasn't able to get it back together. It was bowing out. It was causing the liner to bow out with it, and it was just this whole big thing. So I haven't really come up with a way to really wash these and get all this soap mess off of them without having them absorb a bunch of moisture and warp on me. If anybody has any ideas, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear any suggestions for that. But just know that I know that it looks gross, but I always take the liners out and wash them after I take the soap out. Just throwing that out there. So today, what we are going to be doing is, let me wipe off my little pipette here. I just used it on another soap. You might be able to see it over here in the corner. You have probably already seen that video. But this soap is going to be made with this fragrance oil right here. This is the Christmas Spice fragrance oil from Brambleberry. You guys, this fragrance is everything. It smells exactly like what Christmas just is to me. It is my favorite Christmas scent, I think. Christmas specific scent to use. It is so nice. I will put the fragrance notes up on the screen so that you can take a look at them. Now, one thing to note is that it has a very high percentage of vanillin. So this does generally discolor. I am going to go ahead and color the batter anyway and hope that it doesn't discolor. I had this left over from another batch that I made, and it was maybe a half container, a half bottle. So I'm hoping, and the fragrance is still very, very, very strong. I never have to use a full bottle for a batch of soap because it is very strong. But I'm hoping that by not using the entire thing, it won't discolor quite as much. We'll have to see. If it does, there's nothing that I can really do about that. Alright, so my base colors are going to be, I'm actually going to do a mix. One is going to be ruby red mixed with a little bit of the really red mica to give us a nice dark but vividly red portion of the soap. And oops, I'm just knocking all kinds of things over, you guys. The messes have already started and they are not slowing down anytime soon. Anyway, the other portion is going to be the opposite. It's going to be mostly green vibrance mixed with a little bit of alpine green to deepen it up just a little bit. So I think that this is going to work very, very well. I don't really see why it wouldn't, to be quite honest with you. Now, the bottle does say, the bottle of fragrance does say that it accelerates in cold process soap. That very well may happen. If it does, it does. If I have to go in with a dowel and swirl it, if I can't get a drop swirl, that's what I'll do. But I made a soap with the same exact fragrance oil last year, and you guys, it behaved wonderfully for me. So the Applejack Peel fragrance that I used in the last video misbehaves for me when it says it behaves really well. And my previous experience with the Christmas Spice fragrance oil, it behaved wonderfully. It was very fluid and thin. I got a great swirl out of it. And that one supposedly misbehaves. We'll have to see what happens, because last year I did not make it with a steep water discount the way that I am right now. So I don't think I have anything else to talk about with this soap. So I guess we can just jump right into the making of this soap. Alrighty, as you can see, very, very, very fluid. Now it might start moving, so I am going to go ahead and pour off. I don't have any containers left to use, so I'm just using this glass container here. But I'm going to pour off about half. I want to try to get as even as possible. It might not come out that way, but that's how we're going to do it. And into this container, my little measuring spoon has a little bit of gold mica left on it from the last soap. I'm going to add some of this really, or actually the ruby red mica. There went the top to my mica. Along with a smidgen of this really red. And I know that this says really red mica powder. Really red is not, I repeat, is not a mica. It is a dye. So if you look up on Nurture Soap's site, they have changed that. It just says, I believe it says really red pigment possibly, but it does not say really red mica anymore because it is not a mica. And I think that causes a little bit of confusion because pigments like really red are not safe for the eye area, and it has always been that way. Now, makeup companies will still use really red, or I shouldn't say really red specifically, but will use red pigments and things like that for eyeshadow palettes, but they cannot legally call them eyeshadow palettes because they're not meant to be used around the eyes. So fun fact about that, it is perfectly safe for cold processed soap, but they are not FDA approved to be used in cosmetics, bath bombs, anything like that. Just a little fun fact about really red. Now, let's get to mixing these colors up. So the colors are all mixed up, and you guys, they're so pretty. I hope the colors are coming off true in the camera, but they are so nice. They are the perfect, in my opinion, perfect green and red for a Christmas soap. Let me clean off my stick blender here. But let me get these up so you can see. Are those not the perfect Christmas colors? Oh my goodness. And as you can see, both batters still very fluid. So I have no idea, you guys. The Christmas Spice, it just behaves really well for me. I'm not sure what it is about my recipe that makes it behave, but it behaved last time. It behaved beautifully this time. Applejack Peel super misbehaves. It always does. I don't know. And that's why I have said before, but I will say it again, test fragrances, because the fragrance notes are there more as a warning or as a sort of a for your information, but that does not mean that that's how that fragrance is going to behave in your specific recipe with your specific temperature and climate and things like that. So just be sure that you are testing your fragrances. I'm giving these a quick swirl to make sure that all of the mica is incorporated. There's no uncolored portions of the soap. These colors are so perfect. I hope that if it does discolor, it doesn't discolor much, because that would really be a shame. But we'll have to see. So these are so fluid. I think I'm going to do a drop swirl. I meant in the pot swirl, but I think I'm going to do a drop swirl now that I think about it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in with some green, and I'm going to try to get quite a few swirls in here, so I'm not doing much of each color at a time. All right, that's as much as I'm going to get to pour out. So now I am going to scrape the rest. Just going to alternate scraping. I just dripped red soap all over the side of this. That is okay. So now I'm just going to pick it up and jiggle it a little bit to try to level it out some. It's working very, very nicely. And might bang it down just a little bit to try to get out any air bubbles that may be in there. All right, a couple little air bubbles did pop. Let me scooch this up here. So now what I'm gonna do is just drizzle the rest of the top with the remaining colors. And I think I'm also going to do a mica drizzle with some oil, because I think it will look really, really nice. To me, this looks super Christmassy. I would hope that it looks super Christmassy to everyone else. It is red and green. How much more Christmassy can you get? Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. Just kind of jiggle it, try to even it out just a little. Alrighty, so in this little cup, I have some shimmer gold mica dispersed into some sweet almond oil. Very pretty. And in this one, I have a mixture of the velvet pearl mica from Nurture, a tiny bit of winter white, an even bigger bit of snowflake sparkle, and just a little bitty dash of the silver mist mica to try to get silver and gold. I think that's going to look really good on top of this soap. So I am just going to do some drips on the top. Oh yes. I think this is going to be really nice. I am moving kind of fast because the soap is setting up now that I haven't touched it. Hopefully I didn't just ruin it. We'll have to see. And this came out more white than silver, but I think it will get the point across. Silver and gold, because other than green and red, the two colors I think of for Christmas are silver and gold. Alrighty, so I'm just going to take a dropper now And I'm just going to swirl a little bit. Because it's thickening, I'm going to have to bang it down on the floor to try to get it to settle some. All right, let me bang it down. Alrighty, I was able to get that to settle quite a bit. There's only a little bit of texture on top. Not really sure what to do with these micas that I mixed way too much of. Not sure about that at all, but let me do just a little bit of cleaning because this soap station is kind of a disaster. I just made 2 batches in a row, and that always makes it a little bit messy because I don't feel like stopping in between each batch to clean up all of my little messes. But let me get things into position and I will bring you all in for a close-up. Okay, you guys, here is the Christmas spice soap that we just made. I really like it. The gold and the silver really stand out against that green and red base, and I like the texture on top, and that's from me waiting too long. Honestly, I might be able to bang it down just a little bit more and get rid of more of that. You can see it's completely gone on this side and almost completely gone on this side, but I really like it. I think it's going to look really nice inside. And that's all that I have for this portion of the video. I'll see you all for the cut. We are back to cut the Christmas spice soap that I just made about 5 hours ago. If you saw my previous video on the Applejack Peel soap, you may remember that I am speaking more softly in this portion of the video because it's close to 4:30 in the morning on a Monday and my husband will be getting up in about 2 hours to go to work. I don't have to work today, and I really wanted to get these soaps cut because they are ready. They're nice and firm. They make a pretty decent knocking sound when I tap them with my knuckles, and they're firm and they're ready to go. The sooner that I can get them cut, the sooner that the individual bars will start to harden as they're exposed to air. And because honestly, I was just really impatient to see what these 2 soaps look like inside because I was most excited for these 2 soaps specifically. So let me show you all what this looks like. I think we're going to get some interesting swirls in the middle. So this side is mostly green. You can see some red on the outside there, but you can see some red there. Look at this side, you guys. Is that not so cool? Look at that. I absolutely love it. And here is what the top ended up looking like. I was able to get it to settle a little bit more after I shut the camera off. I banged the entire mold down on the floor several times. And something else that I did, I'll use this spot as an example. This is a pretty deep divot where I did a swirl on the top with a pipette. So what I did was I went back in and I filled it in with some of that mica drizzle, the mica dispersed in oil, to sort of disguise the fact that it's so deep. So it's got a pretty good little dusting of mica in there. And I did that all across the top so that any really deep spots don't look quite as stark, if that makes sense. And I think it turned out really well. I really love the silver with the gold on top of the green and the red. Oh, I'm super happy with how the top turned out. I'm really hoping that the inside turned out good as well. And I think that it will because the Christmas Spice fragrance oil always behaves well for me. So let's go on and make our first cut because I'm just so excited. I can't wait. Ooh, I can already see the inside, and y'all, this is it. I'm super duper happy. So there is the back. That's a pretty cool design. It kind of looks like a close-up of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Does anyone else see that? But here is the inside. Oh my gosh. Y'all, I'm speechless. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And then that top. Look at these. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's continue. Let us continue. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy with how this turned out. Oh my goodness. So there's one side and the other. Oh my gosh, I just love those vivid, beautiful swirls. Oh my goodness. And I am dragging mica just a little bit, if you can see there. I'm trying to get the camera to focus. There's a little bit of mica there that's dragging from the top. So I do think that I am going to turn this soap on its side to cut the rest of this loaf, just to avoid too much of that. There is quite a bit of mica in several spots on the top of the soap, so let's just turn this bad boy on its side. And I did this for the last soap, so I'll do it for this one. On the outside, the soap feels room temperature, but on the inside, it is still warm. So let's just see. So this one is currently sitting at 83 degrees Fahrenheit. So it hasn't even quite cooled down to room temperature yet. That's totally fine because they are solid enough to cut. Obviously, I'm not getting drag marks. The soap isn't squishing. So this is working out perfect. And again, just to reiterate a point, I sprayed the top with rubbing alcohol after everything was all said and done to lock the mica in. I'm rubbing my hand across the top right now. Very, very little has come off on my hand. Very, very little, and that's the point. Okay. So there is one side, and there is the other. I am so in love with this soap, you guys. Oh, I'm gonna have to do this for a soap in my line. That's insane. I'm gonna have to order more of that Christmas spice immediately, if not sooner. So there's one side and the other. Ooh, I love when the swirls drop down like that. Oh, it's my favorite. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Am I just really far up my own butt right now? I mean, I think that this soap turned out beautifully. It is so Christmassy and festive and pretty, and I'm so happy with how the colors turned out. The swirl is great. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. There's the other side. The top. Look how shimmery and pretty. Oh, I just love it. And this is my favorite part of soap making, is that every single bar is a little bit different, and it's so fun seeing how a soap comes out in the middle, because you only have so much control over what it's going to do. So it's always a super nice surprise when it comes out the way that you envisioned it, or even better. I'm loving it. Look at that. I love how there's that little strip of green in there. Oh my gosh. And that top. So there's one side and the other. The top. Silver and gold. Anybody else watch the Rudolph movies? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Surely I'm not the only one. Surely almost everyone has seen those movies, right? So there's one side and the other. Ooh, that one came out interesting. And the top. So there's one side and the other and the top. Almost running out of room here. I just cut the Applejack peel soap right before this one. And of course I've got all my mess back here that you probably can't really see right now, but see, I got a little bit of soap built up in this corner. It's time to take this thing apart completely and clean everything. Okay, so now we're going to trim this one down to size. All right, so this bar will either be a sample or I will use it for myself. I love that little hint of blinding silver and a little bit of gold there. But this is the final bar. So there's one side and the other, and of course the top. And just because I feel like showing it again, let me find a bar that I really liked out of the Applejack peel. It's in here somewhere. Well, stand by for technical difficulty. Okay, that one will work. Alright, so here are those two soaps side by side that we just made earlier tonight and cut on the same night within hours of making it. Applejack peel and Christmas spice. But that is all that I have for you for this video. If you enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment down below. What do you think about these Christmas soaps? This one specifically. How do you feel about it? Did it turn out the way that you expected? Do you hate it? Do you think that this is too gaudy, too in your face? Is there anything you would have done differently? Let me know. I would love to hear. If you like these videos, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on those notifications so that you never miss one of my uploads, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.